the internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward. There's trillions of dollars parked around the world. RP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an episode of 24-Hour Script. Let's get right into today's video. You know, it blows my mind that there's so many people out there that don't think XRP will go to $100. And with all the information we provide on this channel, many of them aren't, putting in the time and actually listening, connecting the dots, following the money, and seeing what these big entities are doing. Well, in today's video, I really hope I come across to you in a very bullish way, how all these individuals are working together, of course, and Ripple is going to be the centerpiece of this. XRP, its digital asset, a jurisdictionless, frictionless, universal bridge to connect the entire world together when it comes to moving value. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with this video by Jerome Allaire. Okay, just to give you guys that vision. Nobody saw Tesla coming. Nobody saw self-driven cars coming. There's going to be, autopilot planes. I mean, there's already autopilot planes. Some of these pilots don't even, they just sit there just in case if something goes wrong. The world is changing at a very, very rapid pace, and it's happening real fast, folks. Take a listen.
What does a cup of coffee have to do with the future of the global economy? While it's hard to imagine today, in the future, digital currencies will fundamentally change the way we pay for things, whether I'm buying a cup of coffee or shipping goods around the world. If you think back to 1998 with dial-up internet, could we imagine that in 10 years we'd have instant access to all of the world's knowledge? Or 10 years after that there'd be billions of broadband connected smartphones with AIs mediating real-time human translation, enabling rich media and communications, coordinating human commerce with extraordinary velocity?
And that same man right there was caught on video talking about how they're going to utilize Brad's company to scale its digital infrastructure.
USDC itself we've seen over $3.5 trillion of transactions directly on the internet between counterparties. And so if we can, improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like, Brad's company.
And governments all around the world are in on this. They know a new infrastructure is coming. And just when we listen to this video from the World Government Summit from 2022, if you guys don't know what they do there, they basically plan for the future of new products, of new infrastructure, and this is what they said.
And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain.
The entire financial infrastructure is getting renovated, and this renovation is going to last a very, very long time. And that is why crypto is going to be generational wealth for many, many holders. And now let's get into the bullish video.
The potentially fast and wide adoption of a global stablecoin, potentially a global currency governed only by the incentives of a private company, is something that will deserve and will receive the highest level of regulatory expectations.
And it will receive the highest level of regulatory clarity because they all have to work together. This PDF from the IMF exploring multilateral platforms for cross-border payments. You got to take a listen to what they say here. This was published in January 2023. Even if you look at this little picture, it says jurisdiction A, B, C, and look at this. This in the centerpiece is a payment provider. Okay, as you guys could see, it's a payment system. It's a payment system. And, XRP could fit right there perfectly. This is where things are all going. But listen very carefully to this. Multilateral platforms could enhance cross-border payments, but often involve more complicated legal and operational issues relative to domestic payment systems. Any decision to increase the role of multilateral platforms should weigh all relevant trade-offs, risks, and benefits relative to other cross-border arrangements, such as correspondent banking, not merely the added risk relative to domestic systems. These considerations vary depending on the current state of cross-border payment arrangements in a specific geographical region or for a specific payment system function, as well as on the purpose and chose approach for increasing the role of a multilateral platforms. This is huge, and when you heard Jerome Powell, I can't believe people don't see this. This option could be based on existing institutional arrangements, but may nevertheless require additional public-private sector involvement and coordination. The greenfield approach involves building a new, potentially global infrastructure for cross-border payments. This option could foster greater alignment of certain aspects of cross-border payments, but may entail complex governance discussions and cooperative oversight arrangements, as well as careful balancing of the roles of public and private sector stakeholders. And when we go down to the cross-border features for our multilateral platforms, take a look at this. They have Function 1 requires liquidity management. Payment meshing including authentication, initiation, submission, and conditionality. Compliance and data processing. Clearing including netting and settlement and foreign exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and smash that like button. This is for examples of a multilateral platform features. They don't have it yet. They're just talking about it. And if you go through this whole PDF, they say it may have this, it may have that, it may also have this. That's all that this is, okay? And then limited operating hours, 24/7, 365, baby. That's where things are headed. And under Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure from the BIS, Cross-Border Payments, Interoperability, and Extension Task Force composition. Guess who's here? Of course, we have Ripple, folks, under the task force members, under financial infrastructures. Nobody else. Where is the Stellar Foundation? Where is QNT? Where is XDC? And I'm not saying those assets are going to perform really well, okay? Whoa, take a step back. I'm not firing shots here. But I'm just saying you can't compare those entities with Ripple. You really can't. This is completely different. This is an all-in-one financial infrastructure hub with multiple dozens of use cases that could be provided through Ripple's technology. Okay? This is way bigger, folks. Way bigger. And even the chairman, okay? Even the chair, Ulrich Benzel, I don't know if I butchered that, I'm sorry, forgive me, but he was bashing Bitcoin. He's a part of the ECB. He was bashing Bitcoin last year. European central banks, Ulrich says Bitcoin should not be legitimized. Okay, down the road, there might be a time where they don't look at Bitcoin as it could be a security. It's just, there's the only reason why they're saying Bitcoin is not a security is because they don't know who created it, which makes absolutely no sense. Give me a break, okay? Now let's get into the final segment of this video, and this is going to open a lot of eyes, okay? This report was back from 2016, but take a listen to this, okay? This is very important. On the other hand, higher value business-to-business payments brought in $240 billion revenue on 135 trillion in flows, okay? So the banks made revenue, 240 billion, but that revenue has increased. I'll tell you in a second. But this is where the big banks don't want Ripple coming in because Ripple just does it 160 trillion% times better, and that's a fact. You even have Michael Barr talking about it. I'm going to get into the video in a second. But first, take a listen to Garlinghouse talking about how these banks are making revenue.
Pushing and also a lot of money attached to those settlements.
For sure. So we have over 100 banks working with Ripple today around the world. I think the vast majority of banks, like 99.9% of banks, actually are paying other banks, the kind of the global money center banks like JP Morgan or Citibank, to make those settlements. 99.9% of banks actually are paying other banks, the kind of the global money center banks like JP Morgan or Citibank, to make those settlements. So a lot of the banks are very excited about democratizing how these global payments flow. When we talk about Jamie Dimon, we first have to recognize where he sits. He sits at the top of the global financial infrastructure. There are a few banks, of which JPM is certainly one, that make billions and billions of dollars of profit by virtue of that perch. 99.9% of banks don't make money in this ecosystem in terms of cross-border payments. Jamie Dimon makes a technical term of a shit ton of money by sitting there. So when I hear Jamie Dimon saying it's a fraud, I think to myself, well, of course he's going to say that.
And that is why I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again. Ripple was sued on purpose. I don't care what people say. That will never, ever, ever change my mind. You could bring me everything. I will still not believe you. Okay, Ripple was targeted within the deep state. They went after Ripple because their infrastructure, their technology is going to change everything. Why did they go after Ripple? Because they need to buy time. Why? Because Ripple has patents. You got to understand that there's patents when you're creating a technology that JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, these banks just can't get because they don't have those patents, okay? Ripple could license those and make more money, but again, we don't know what's happening behind these closed door meetings, okay? And now let's jump into a 2022 report, but this is global payments report, and the number has increased. This is not just B2B, so it's a little bit larger. Payments industry revenues rebounded strongly in 2021, growing an 11% rate, more robust than we forecast last year and reaching a new high of 2.1 trillion globally in revenue. And that is why Brad Garlinghouse said this.
Jamie Dimon makes a technical term of a shit ton of money.
That is a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We'll finish it off with Michael Barr, an ex-Ripple advisor, now overseeing the Fed and creating guardrails. I do appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we will be back with another video.
You don't want to choke off innovation, and particularly with regulation, sometimes incumbents will use regulation to block new entrants into the system. So you want to be very careful that you're not kind of locking in the power of the dinosaurs.
Payment messaging include authentication and then under the committee.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening. Flip the switch. I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.